My parents, they came from the Ukraine, and my father was a 12-year-old in 1921, and some Americans had sent food because they were starving in Ukraine, had sent food to a neighboring village, some people in a neighboring village, and so the neighboring village didn't have any transportation, and in the Ukraine there with the Mennonites, transportation was by wagon. You know, you don't carry stuff on your head or anything like that. And so the neighbors that had been told that they had food at the railroad station, they got in contact with my father's family. Revolution had taken away the horses, and so he hooked up a couple of oxen and started driving them with a stick with a wagon behind to pick up this food. And what happened was he got tired because he wasn't being fed well. He was skinny, and he, like in a Western, he got on the wagon and tried to direct the oxen from a wagon. And the oxen, of course, they wanted to go home. So they turned and started running home. And so he jumped between them. And with a stick, he tried to, like in a Western movie, he tried to stop them. And then he fell down next to the pole, and the wagon ran over him. And then he jumped up and ran up beside him. But he said that was the hardest thing he ever did, because it had been just run over. And then he redirected the oxen back to the railroad station and delivered the food. And then for delivering that food, my family, the Willms family, got some food from America at that time, and that helped them through a really tough time. But my father, he left all this behind him, and when he came to Canada, he always wanted to grain farm. But my mom, she wanted to stay around her relatives in the Fraser Valley, and so he ended up milking cows. And I milked cows too till I was about 19, and then I wanted to do something else. And so I moved up north and started grain farming, and we also grow creeping red fescue. But this story, remained with us. Fraser Valley Gleaners is just part of my life, so that's sort of how it happened. I have a friend that was farming in Fort St. John, and his name was Ed Toes, and he was a phenomenal entrepreneur, and he had been sending between a peas down yearly, and so to the Gleaners, yeah. And so I said, well, why don't I just donate half of them, and then it continued to develop, and pretty soon, the next year, I sent the whole load, right? But I found some partners, and so we each sent half of a B train. So that's how I got started with Fraser Valley Gleaners. A lot of times the problem with really wealthy people is that they're focused so much on themselves that they don't have the energy or the will to give, and I don't want to be like that, So, but about 8 years ago, my family wanted to be closer to our relatives here in the valley, so we bought a condo down here, and we wintered here about 5 years. In those 5 years, I was on the board for a few years, yeah. So I went to Ethiopia with Canadian Food Grains Bank, and saw the results the feeding programs had done there. you could see what effects that the donation are having. You know, it wasn't a government handout kind of thing. It was effective, and you know, I appreciated it. And of course, the Fraser Valley Gleaners is mostly is around the world too. You know, and so yeah, the feeding programs have been operated by these two organizations were excellent. Yeah. Well, the fellowship and the sense of doing something for others, you know, is very rewarding, and it gives meaning to your life. Yeah. So that's been excellent. Since COVID, what I understand, the world hunger has increased a lot, and so the need for more product is there, and you know, we have all these resources of retired people to help us make this work, and that's just excellent, you know, and it gives the retired people a reason to live, and it allows their souls to breathe, you know, and do something that is helpful and useful. So, yeah, that's excellent.